Hi, I'm Charlotta.
And I'm Vicky, and welcome to the School of Pattern Cutting.
Today we're going to look how to draft a pattern from a cowl neck image.
So we're going to have a look at, we've got a Pinterest board with all these different images on, and you'll see that they're either evening wear or day wear. And we're going to have a look at day wear vintage to draft this cowl neck. So
so this is a great, keep on watching if you love vintage patterns because there's quite a few of them. So this, for example, is a grass, which is beautiful because it isn't what you normally think of as a cowl neck. Yeah. So it's quite subtle.
It's beautiful, yeah. And then if you consider this, so cowl necks are called different things in different countries. So this is a cowl neck technically, but has different type of volume added onto the neckline. So we are going to draft this pattern today.
So that's actually from a McCall pattern from the late 50s, I would imagine.
Yeah. So it's very new look Dior. You can see we're going to look at this very subtle neckline, which is with a very fitted bodice underneath it.
And it's quite unusual because it's got a centre front seam, and that makes it quite day wear as well. It makes it a bit more structured.
Yeah, I think you would draft it in with a very subtle neckline, and then you'd maybe make a toile in an appropriate fabric and see how you go.
We're going to analyse the image, talk about appropriate fabrics and also talk about fit, and then we're going to draft the pattern together. So let's get drafting our cowl neck. So the one we've chosen is 50s.
I think it's 50s.
60s. Vintage, and the reason we liked it is because it's quite a restrained cowl neck. So before we've looked at like a lot of the big wedding ones, which are very drapey, silky. This is made out of heavier fabric. Yeah. And it's a day dress, so it might even be out of,
I think maybe a really nice sort of sateen cotton or something.
There's a bit of drape, and if you were making it, that's what dresses like that are great for people who love vintage clothing. Yeah, because it can be really contemporary, depending on the fabric you use, isn't it? Yeah, it would be nice in a wool as well.
Very nice, very nice.
Of course, now if you use like a satin cotton, you can get it with a bit of elastic added, so it's much more comfortable. Yeah, and look. It won't be as corsety, it will be more contemporary.
And it also enables you to be, it fits slightly better, doesn't it, with that little tiny bit of elastic.
And it enables you to have lunch and breathe.
Sit down.
So, do you just start to, so the top is quite fitted.
This is your basic block, isn't it? Sorry, that neck's a bit small.
So I've got the 2 darts. That's out of first drafting, and then what you would do is you decide how much of a volume it is. I think that it might move away a bit, the shoulder, so it might end up, it sort of looks like this. Yeah,
so you're adding a bit of volume in the middle.
Yeah. So it's quite hard to draw flat because it's not a flat garment, isn't it?
So it always looks like it's slightly splayed out, doesn't it?
And what's really interesting, this has actually got a seam in the middle. So we've added rather than the fold. Yeah. So on the other videos we've looked at how you can just add volume without it's all folded together. This has actually become quite constructed. But of course that bait also lays so quite fitted around the bust, it doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. I like this very sharp edge on here.
Yeah. So I think it's not a lot of volume. No, it's sort of quite gentle, which is quite nice. And I think that's what makes it quite vintagey day wear rather than wedding dresses. We have a quick look to compare. Because on our Pinterest board, what's really interesting is that all vintage ones, unless it's like a 1940s film, is it 40s? Yeah, 60s maybe. And films, you always think of Rita Hayworth, isn't it? But then a lot of the vintage stuff is actually quite restrained.
It's very, even though it's quite a extreme shoulder line, it's a very subtle cowl.
And the same as that as well, that's quite restrained. And I think that's what's nice about this one. Okay, so let's get going. So you draw around your basic bodice as usual. We're going to use both the shaping darts because you've got a dart here which is your waist dart, and then the volume of your bust dart. You can see it hasn't got a bust dart here. That's what's moved into the neck. It's got quite a nice back as well.
Yeah, it's nice. I like that very shallow curve. Very nice.
And it's a sort of, is it called an American neck, where it's sort of pointy at the shoulder? If you're American, let us know if you think it's called an American neck. I think it comes from Claire McCardle, isn't it? She loved that sort of very flattering neckline.
Sorry about that horrendous bump there. And again, you would be using a pencil to do this, so you get much more accurate lines than we do.
So the first thing we're going to do is draw in our centre front seam. So just write in centre front seam, because normally it's always a fold. So,
and also you always write on the pattern, not on the paper on the outside, because that's a bit you're cutting off.
And then the neck, so the neck moves out a bit, but the shoulder stays the same. So I think it's still. I don't think it moves out much, maybe a few centimeters. So again, you might want to, even on your mannequin, on yourself, actually say, if you look at the drawing, so you can see it hits at the front, it hits that sort of collarbone point, isn't it? And then it's sort of halfway down your shoulder.
This is quite a high neckline on here, so you might want to...
I think we should move it down a tiny bit, maybe 2 centimeters or something. Just mark it where we want it to sit, and then we know when we are adding the volume. So that's all fine. So what we need to do now is get rid of the bust dart and create the volume at the same time. And because it's quite a gentle cowl neck, we just first of all see whether just getting rid of the bust dart is enough. So you need to draw your line for volume. Yes, so it's sort of roughly halfway in the curve. And then what you do is you cut your bust dart to the bust point, and then you cut from here, so you leave it attached.
Yeah, so you have to cut very carefully in the middle, because you just need to leave it all attached, otherwise you end up with lots of separate bits. Just leave it.
It doesn't really matter if you cut further, but it makes it a bit easier if you don't.
And always make sure that you're using your paper scissors to do this, and not your fabric scissors, because paper blunts fabric.
But saying that, you still want nice pair of scissors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what I do is I sharpen my scissors, but then after a few years, my fabric scissors get degraded, put down to paper scissors, and I get a new pair.
So closing that dart gives us that much volume, and we have to sort of decide whether that's enough volume.
So that's a tricky question, because that's such a gentle cowl. It's sort of, the other ones you can go over the top and you can measure it, but here it sort of goes down a bit. It's also quite interesting because there's some draping, but it isn't that much. So I might even start with that, and then decide whether you want to have more. I think you might, because if you wear it, it's not a lot of draping at all.
I think you might need a little tiny bit
so
more.
what we do is to create a bit more. We want to keep the V-starts, but we're going to do a parallel line to the centre front and just...
So you always draw it parallel to the centre front?
But we don't want a lot, because as soon as you start opening it, it becomes too loose, and this looks very fitted. So I half wonder whether they actually created a bit of volume at the front, so it might start here.
So your seam might run like that rather than like that.
Yeah, because if you look at the image, it's really tight. You can see it's literally tight to the bottom of your bust. So I think rather than opening all that up, because you end up with a bit of volume there, is to actually do a little bit of more starting roughly here.
Here?
Yeah.
So just below your bust?
Yes, because that's where it sort of gets a bit. So you can either, so what you say, I estimate maybe like 3 centimeters. And then we're going to curve it a bit to make it really gentle.
Where do you want to curve?
All the way to the... Our curve is going to go at
the top.
At here.
Yeah. So then you're going to curve this.
Just so it looks like it's a straight line, but it actually isn't.
You'll be able to see this much more easily when you're using a nice sharp pencil.
And normally, of course, you never add any volume to the sides. You might just do it with a base a bit, but in general, you always want to slash your pattern and add volume because it's more even.
Yeah.
So this is sort of quite an odd one because normally I would say never do it, but try it out because it's quite unusual as a seam, and there has to be. Normally, as a pattern cutter, you always want to have as little seams as possible because unless they're design line. But this looks like it's actually got function.
Yeah.
And also, it's not that flattering to have a seam, so there must be a reason for having it.
I was going to say, there must be a reason for that seam being there. So.
Okay. And also, it's got normal sleeves, so there isn't a reason for having two parts. So what we're going to do is add a bit of paper here. Screw it down.
So with this draft, you're making this pattern now, and then what you're going to do is you'll redraw it afterwards. So this is why you keep gluing pieces of paper. So it just has to be fixed for now.
This is your first draft, and I would always keep it in case you want to do alterations. But then each version you do, you basically copy it to a piece of paper. So you might end up with 4 versions. But that way you can actually go back and say, oh, this version that doesn't work. First one was better, I go back to that. And if you always cut the same paper, you lose that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit wasteful as paper, but it has a reason. Okay, so let's first of all redraft a right angle. I know we've got a seam, but still, even with the seam, you want a right angle, so it's a smooth line. Yeah, so
that's the right angle.
Yeah. And then we're going to use our pattern master and make this a really nice smooth line.
Always use your pattern master. Don't try to guess. It always goes wrong if you try to guess that.
And so for using a pattern master is where you get experience, because I would actually say
you use it the other way up.
Yeah, because sometimes that's why I think French seams, French curves are sort of used both ways. Oh yes, you're right. Oh, so and it's American, so I don't think it can be right angles. It doesn't look like a right angles.
So like that. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with using your pattern master upside down.
No, it just doesn't sit flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your new line.
So you would erase these lines. You don't need these lines here. Yeah.
So this is your first finished pattern. So what you would do now, you add seam allowance for wands absolutely everywhere. 1 centimeter, and with that pattern you would definitely need a facing as well. Okay. So normally a facing would sit about, what would we say? But it depends, it's sort of, so high streaks about 5 centimeters, and then if you wanted to look a bit more expensive, you would 7-8 centimeters. But it always depends on where it goes as well. So for example, on a sleeve, you might want to have a narrower.
Yeah, you might want
but I think with a skirt, 8 centimeters is lovely. It makes it it gives a nice finish and weight as well.
Okay. So seam allowance all the way around.
And then your facing would be like that. But for your first trial, you don't do facing, literally just
cut it.
Yeah. I would cut the whole front because you're draping. Because on a half front you can't see how much it drapes. Yeah. So cut out 2, stitch it together, and put it on your mannequin. Yeah. Okay, so enjoy drafting this pattern and let us know how you get on.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.